All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarasun Seti. Kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. We got another powerful fire presentation this evening. Mentuhotep II, the black African pharaoh of ancient Kemet, who founded Egypt's second golden age. He's one of the Semitawi, the reuniter of the land, the reuniter of the land. And so this is one of the most powerful pharaohs that ever ruled in ancient Egypt. We got a powerful presentation on this divine brother. Before we get started, I want to make sure you get over to my Patreon, General Seti, over 500 exclusive live streams. The link is right there at the top of the chat. KingSeti.com, online marketplace, official General Seti DVDs, t-shirts, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry. We got a lot of fire for you over there. Get over there, get you something nice, get you something fly. Become a member of my YouTube page, General Seti, Sarasun Seti. You can click that link right there on the home page or in the chat. Become a member, get access to exclusive videos and material, and get a video a thumbs up, family. Get a video a thumbs up, like it because you love it. Share it with your family and friends. Comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban you. Better yet, Ray gonna ban you. You see, I'm gonna be over here teaching. Okay, so here we go. We talking about Mentuhotep. Who is this brother Mentuhotep? Okay, now, if you know it, let me see if I can get that picture up there. Now, what's crazy is, let me see. Let me blow this one up. See if I can get it to blow up. If not, that's okay. If you can see, okay. Well, it ain't going, I don't think it's going to blow all the way up. Let me see. Let me see if it's going to blow all the way up. No, it ain't going to blow all the way. That's all right. I ain't going to mess with it. But, you know, his temple is right there at the, right next to Hatshepsut's funerary temple. It didn't threw me all the way out. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Let me get right back to where I'm supposed to be. They didn't threw me out. Hold up just a second, family. Okay, I think it's realigning itself. I'll be in here tussling with. Now, Mentuhotep again is one of the great pharaohs. Let me come out of here till I can get it where it need to be. Okay, let me get back on in here. One of the great pharaohs of the Middle Kingdom. He was I believe he was the very first king. You know, and he, you know, there was some, again, some dissension in Egypt at that time where it wasn't united under one ruler, you know, and so it went off, you know, into factions. It was factions where, you know, you had, you know, lower Egypt which is going toward the Mediterranean, and then see Mentuhotep was a Theban ruler. So that's when we talk about Waset. We're talking about Luxor. Today the Arabs call it Luxor. But, you know, in ancient times, it was referred to as Waset. And here at Waset, you know, it was the university city. It was the capital. You know, the greatest temples in all of Egypt was in the city. You got the Temple of Karnak. You got the Temple of Luxor. You got You got the Valley of the Kings. You got Hatshepsut. Her temples is in that area. So this is the magnificent city of Waset, the greatest city in all the ancient world by far. When it was the greatest city in the ancient world by far. And this is under Mentuhotep. This is when Waset, before the Middle Kingdom, you had Nikan, which was, a city a little further south than Waset. It was a little further. It had prominence. It had prominence in at that time. But then Waset began to the great royal families of Waset began to take over. And so this is when you start to see Amen, become the state deity and start to gain prominence, because Amen was the official deity, the supreme deity of Waset. And then you had the mother Mu, the vulture goddess, and that's when you started to see, majority of the queens and empresses, especially after the 18th dynasty, you see them wearing the vulture, headdress. You see, which is the goddess Mu. Okay, and so Amen and Mu became, and you hear Mentu, which is Mantu. Again, see now his name, he's using Mentu or Mantu. Mantu was the war god before Amen. He was the supreme deity of Waset, Thebes, Luxor before Amen. But then Amen kind of usurped a lot of the attributes of Mentu. You see, and so, but this is where you get the root of his name, Mentuhotep, okay, or Mentuhotep. And see, a lot of people see his skin, and a lot of people equate that to, that he had passed on. But what's crazy is that I looked it up, and his daughter was also black. See, people don't know that. See, people think, you see his Ka statue, and the Ka statue for most of the pharaohs is divinity. When you reach divinity and you done passed on and you have become God, you see, you have manifested yourself as God. That's why you black, because now you didn't become one with the cosmos. You feel what I'm saying? And so a lot of people think, that, it does not mean death. There is no death. You see, these kings are eternal beings. There ain't no death. So in ancient Egypt, it was a sign of resurrection and rebirth. Okay, but you see his skin, and people equate that he had passed on. But in truth and in reality, his daughter, and I seen the pictures of her on some of the temples, and she was black, actually black, and she was one of the first ones outside of Amos Nefertari, because they didn't went over there and fabricated. With black people, we all different colors, and it was the same way in ancient Egypt. When they see something black, they always say, "Oh, that's Nubian." And yes, we are Nubian, but see, that's the way to make you believe that the Egyptians wasn't black. Oh, you see one, but see, they've been playing over there. They didn't, the areas or the images of Egyptians that were dark, like Mentuhotep and his daughter, and they didn't systematically quartered that off where you can't necessarily get in there and see that. Just like they show the sons of Ramesses where they was black, and they don't want you to see that. He had, I think it was like 3 or 4 sons that were black, and the glyphs say that they were Egyptians. You see, but this is what we have to deal with. Did it ever come back in? Let me see if it came back in. Let me see if it came back in. But just going off the top of my head, because Mentuhotep II, he came from the bloodline of the Intefs. Now that was a name that was given to me, Seti Intef. And the Intefs were a Theban bloodline. They were fighting before Mentuhotep. Mentuhotep is of the bloodline of the Intefs, and that was a royal family in Waset, in Thebes, in Luxor, that were fighting to, reunite Egypt. They were not able to do it, but they laid, the path for Mentuhotep II to be able to do it. So you had Intef the first, you had Intef the second, and you had Intef the third. You see, and Intef the first, he started the fire. You see, he started the fight for liberation. Intef the second came along and he expanded the war. He expanded the war for liberation. And so, he pushed further into Lower Egypt. And then Intef the third, he sustained the fight that Intef the second was fighting. And Mentuhotep came behind Intef the third, and he united the land. Okay, he reunited the land, which they call the Semitawi. He's one of the Semitawi. Narmer is a Semitawi. He reunited the land. Mentuhotep is a Semitawi. He reunited the land. Ahmose the first is a Semitawi. He reunited the land. So each time it fell apart, then various regions was under a regional ruler or things like that. These three pharaohs, Narmer, Mentuhotep II, Ahmose the first, they came along, reunited Egypt, brought it into. So you got the first golden age, which we call the Old Kingdom. Then under Mentuhotep came the Middle Kingdom, and he brought in the second golden age. And then Ahmose the first in the New Kingdom, he initiated the New Kingdom and started the third golden age of ancient Egypt. And you could say that the fourth golden age was under the 25th dynasty. So Egypt has four golden ages. Under the Nubians came the last and the fourth golden age. You see. Now let me see if I'm back in the house. I think I'm back in the house now. Yep, I'm back in the house. Let me get back up here to Mentuhotep. Now, like I say, family, I'm getting all my slides and everything together. So, I'm getting my lecture game, my lecture game is down, critical. You feel me? But believe you me, when I put these slides up here, I done updated everything. So it's off the chain. So y'all just bear with me. It ain't going to be much longer. But as long as you get this information, you can go behind me and do your own research, to back this up. But Mentuhotep is one of the greatest. You see, he's most definitely in the top 10, He's most definitely in the top 10. So let me get it all the way up here. I'm almost where I need to be, family. And again, his temple was at right next to Hatshepsut's mortuary temple. So if you ever want to look up, and it has some damage to it. It has some damage to it. It was, really Hatshepsut's temple is, was built, off the model of Mentuhotep's temple. It wasn't as large as Hatshepsut's, but it most definitely was a beautiful temple. Now, another thing with the end, here you go. Yep, okay, here you go. Now, another thing with the Intefs and Mentuhotep, they started this, what they call the shaft tomb. Now, what are the shaft tombs? If you go into the Valley of the King, see, they stopped building the pyramids. You see, they stopped building the pyramids, and they began to cut these, what they call shaft tombs, which is into the mountain. You see, so when you look at the Valley of the Kings, all of those tombs are dug out of the mountain. You see, and so the Intefs were the first ones that, really, but, Mentuhotep and the Intefs were the ones that was the bridge between the pyramids and the Valley of the Kings. You see, they were those, originators of that type of a style of tomb. So when you look and go to Mentuhotep's funerary temple at El Badari, I believe that's how you pronounce that, El Badari, and you will see that there is a shaft tomb, and I believe that's where they found that statue that you see behind me. I don't know if they ever found his mummy. I don't know if they ever found his mummy. A lot of times in that period, once you have grave robbers, and there was grave robbers in the ancient world too. That's why they were putting all type of traps and inside of the tombs to keep people from going in there trying to get the valuables out of there. And so if they had broken into the tomb and the mummy was still there, they would take the mummy and put it in another tomb somewhere. And so I don't know if his body was removed from that tomb and placed in another tomb. This could have been done in the ancient times. And so, but I don't believe that they found his mummy in that particular, but they did find artifacts, and that black statue was one of them that they found in that tomb. Okay, let's see. So, okay, I'm going to just go ahead. And so Mentuhotep, and he ruled between 2061, 2010 BCE, was the king who ended the first intermediate period and reunified Egypt, ushering in the Middle Kingdom, one of Egypt's greatest eras. Okay, why he matters, he put Egypt back together after a century of civil war and laid the foundations for Middle Kingdom stability, art, and administration. Okay, historical context, the period is the late 11th dynasty. Before him, Egypt was divided, Thebes versus Hyrcanopolis. Okay, after him, central authority was restored and prosperity returned. Okay, Mentuhotep II rules from Thebes and defeats northern rivals, reunifying Upper and Lower Egypt. Okay, the unifier of Egypt conducted military campaigns to defeat competing kings, took titles, emphasizing unity. So even though he did that, he still emphasized unity. So when we hear these stories of how the pharaohs was, they were so, they fractionalized the people, and this is not uniter of the two lands, reestablished nationwide administration and taxation. This is why many scholars call him the second founder of Egypt after Narmer. That's powerful. Mentuhotep most definitely is in the top 10 of pharaohs, and you talking about some powerful pharaohs. You know what I'm saying? So to say you in the top 10 in 3,000 years of great Pharaoh is saying, you can't find a king nowhere in any other land that can compete with him at all. And I can say that, resoundingly, that is nobody can compete with this, bro. Architectural legacy built a revolutionary mortuary temple complex at Dur el Bahari. Okay, Dur el Bahari. Terrace designs, a design carved in the cliff combines rock cut and built architecture. So you got the rock cut or rock hewn is where you cut directly into the rock, whether it be a mountain, you just cut directly into it. And what he did, he had a temple. When it says built architecture, that means you taking stone, you building a temple, which is something different. So he built the temple in front of his rock cut or rock hewn his tomb. And so you could come from out, you can go into the temple, and then if you go into the interior of the temple, which you could not go into, I don't even know if they would have allowed, they probably had a courtyard where people that wanted to venerate him could go into the courtyard, but you would not have had access to go into that area where you can go all the way into the back of the temple and enter into his tomb. That would have only been for priests to be able to do that. Okay. His temple is a bridge between Old Kingdom pyramid tradition and later New Kingdom temples. Okay. And burials. Okay. Religious and ideological impact elevated Osiris as a central god of kingship and afterlife. So under Mentuhotep, Osiris really was elevated under him. And that's very significant. Okay. Promoted the idea that the king restores Ma'at cosmic order. See, it's on the Pharaoh to maintain Ma'at in cosmic order. Shifted royal ideology from monumentality alone to moral authority. You can't just sit up there and gloat and you understand that you the king. No, you have to also, maintain moral authority, because that's what happened. You see too many in that intermediate period, it's all about the Pharaoh and you're not dealing with moral authority, and the nation fell apart. All that bickering and whatever, and it fell apart. And this brother brought it together, and to maintain, the national, unity, he stresses moral authority. You have to be moral in everything, as far as a ruler, so that, you're fair and you take, and so that the people don't fall into disarray. You see, art and culture becomes more naturalistic and introspective. You see, so it's about not just, all these monuments of glory, but showing that, you're also, interacting with the people. You see, royal imagery emphasize human kingship plus divine mandate. Literature and administration flourish under stability. Okay, so, this good brother Mentuhotep II is the king who rescued Egypt from collapse. Without him, there would be no Middle Kingdom, no later prosperity, no administrative renaissance, and no template for powerful kingship that followed. So really, Mentuhotep, if it was not for Mentuhotep, the new kingdom wouldn't even have been possible. You see, that's why he's so significant. That's why they call him the second founder of ancient Egypt, because if it wasn't for Mentuhotep, it could not have been no new kingdom. You see, if he hadn't come and gave them the blueprint, and it's still, and the next time it fell apart, it was because it was conquerors that came from the outside. You see, and so that was the second time. So, but they looked at his blueprint, and they say, this is how we're going to have to get it together. But this time we're going to have to crack more heads because these is from the outside. And so they didn't came in on our soil, and so we're going to have to crush them. But once they got it together, this brother was the blueprint on how a king, a Pharaoh, should run the nation. So family, I want y'all to do some extra research on this brother, because he is most definitely one of the greatest kings of all time. You see, he's most definitely one of the greatest kings. He's in the top 10 pharaohs of all time. And I would literally put him in the top 5, because you can look at the Ramesses, and you can look at the Tutmosis, and you can look at the Hatshepsut. They would not have been possible without Mentuhotep. So the only kings that you could really put before Mentuhotep was those kings that came in the old kingdom, like Khufu, Zoser, Narmer. You see, those kings, those are the only kings that you could put before Mentuhotep. And even then, you can only put maybe 3 or 4 in front of him. He is most definitely a top 5 pharaoh, great pharaoh of all time. So give it up for the Grand Master Mentuhotep II of the bloodline of Entef Waset. Y'all know what it is. Do some research. I see y'all in a minute. Make sure you get over there to my Patreon support. Get over there, kingseti.com. Become a member of my YouTube page, and I'll be right back. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on the wicked beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Boom. Black power.